Welcome back to the Awakened Avoidant. Today is episode 38. We bring to you another deposit on the journey towards generational health. Today we have Miss Eve Hockman, licensed
Hi.
esthetician,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
All right. Thank you for coming, Miss Hockman.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little nervous,
Yeah.
but
Still?
a little bit now that we're rolling.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. What you been up to? How's life?
So, life's been great. My business has been doing well. Went on some vacations this summer. Have you been on vacations?
Me? No, not yet. I
Oh,
haven't.
not yet.
With
Yeah.
the 2-year-old, you got to
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
figure stuff out. You can't just
Gotta
pick
get one
up
on the
and,
books.
yeah, kind of harder.
But yeah, things have been great. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Do everything you can now while you don't have, because you said that potentially that you'd like to see that in your future. If that is a part of your future, do everything that you can now. I know you heard it before probably, but
Yeah.
time becomes so few and the opportunities just change
Yeah.
when you
And with
have
a 2-year-old, you can speak on it probably the best.
yeah, you're at his will, his
Yeah.
mercy basically. Like we're doing what he's doing. I guess we're eating where he's eating.
Yeah.
We're going where he's going and where he can go, and
Mm-hmm.
it's all about him. So right now it's
Oh.
all about you. So
Ah.
do
Oh
everything.
my gosh.
And I saw you post about you called him your fiance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are you recently engaged?
Yeah, so we're in August. It was this past December that he proposed on my
Oh,
birthday.
nice.
Yeah, it was the perfect cover up for the proposal. I blew out my cake candles and I turned around, he was on his knee.
Yeah,
It was very sweet.
yeah. Did he cry?
Yeah, there were lots of
Yeah.
tears.
Did you cry?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, emotional.
Oh my gosh, I was like ugly crying.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that I would, but when it happened, I have pictures of me just be like,
What do you think it is about the moment that brings out those emotions?
I think, well, for me and George, my fiance, we've been together for going on 7 years this December. And so that was our 6-year anniversary this past December. And I always knew it was coming. Like, I never had a boyfriend before George. I was very picky. And when I met George, it was like this big whirlwind and fell in love very quickly. And I knew I always wanted to marry him. And so when he proposed, and you might be wondering, oh, 6 years. It's for some people, it's like a financial thing. Like he never wanted to skimp on the ring.
Mhm.
And so when it finally came 6 years into being together, I think it was just this buildup of emotion, and like my love for him. And it was very beautiful. So I
Yeah.
think it was just a lot of buildup.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's no, 6 years is cool. I waited like 10 years, so yeah,
Oh,
I waited a whole lifetime. Well, I won't say I waited. Let's say she waited
yeah,
more or less,
it's a case by case basis,
yeah, for sure. You need to know because
Yeah.
it's a lifelong commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's true.
good for you.
Thank you.
Congrats on that. Do you
Thank you
have
so
a
much.
date? Is it like planned?
No date just yet. Um, we did look at one potential venue, but that's all we've really done so far.
Yeah,
But we'll see how it works out. I'm excited.
the momager
Oh
working
yeah.
in the background, getting things together for you.
Um, Not so much. Well, she's like waiting. I'm sure she's geared up and ready to go for wedding stuff. But like she's like, make your guest list, apply for your marriage license and things like that. But she's probably more focused on Apple and Eve right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's very momager.
Would you be the first of her children to be married?
No, so my brother just got married. He was with his now wife they've been together for 10 years.
Oh,
And yeah, they were high school sweethearts. For that reason, they waited a while to get engaged, but he was the first to get married.
congrats to him.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
that's interesting. It sounds like you're like him and yourself. You guys had this kind of real pure upbringing as far as, just the high school sweetheart and the one person and that
Mhm.
wasn't my life. That wasn't my life
Yeah,
experience for sure. No, absolutely not.
I I don't know that I would call my family like pure, But my childhood, looking back, was very wholesome.
Yeah.
Like I grew up going to my grandma and grandpa's farm. My grandpa's since passed and my grandma's retired, but and she still helps out. But I grew up going to the farm every summer. I was there like every day. Um, my parents have always been together. We did grow up Catholic, but we've since come away from, we're not very religious anymore. But I am very lucky that I grew up with such a wholesome childhood. Like I look back with very fond feelings and memories of my child. I just whack the mic.
Oh yeah, that'll happen a lot too.
Okay.
But
I'm
try
definitely a
not
hand
to.
talker.
At least you realize it the very first time.
Yeah, I'll be aware now.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I am very lucky that I grew up with only fond memories of my childhood and upbringing.
yeah. Do you think it was because of what you saw in your home as far as the way love was expressed for one another?
Absolutely. I always saw how my dad treated my mom and continues to treat my mom. He is like the most stand-up man. Like he's rock solid, and so is their marriage.
Mm,
And that didn't mean that things were perfect all the time because no relationship is. But he never raised his voice at her, or he always just treated her so beautifully. And I knew from a young age that I wanted like my own Ron Hockman. Like I wanted someone who's going to be my rock and who was going to make a great father. And I think that's why I was so picky once I did enter my dating years. Um, I had flings and things with guys, but it wasn't until I met George that I was like, okay, like this is someone who's going to build like a really beautiful life with me.
yeah,
So I had a great two role models.
yeah. That's awesome to hear that because I mean we're all aware of it, but to hear you speak on it, that the impact of role models at home had on your life because your father set the standard for the man that you wanted to go out there
Mm-hmm.
and find for your life, and then you see sometimes in life, I don't mean to laugh, but it's just unfortunate, that people can be a bit misguided or lost as far as what they want in their life because they never saw it. You
Mm-hmm.
just don't know what to look for. You might be,
So
looking for
true.
love in all the wrong places. Like I myself, again, was that kind of person, just looking to fill a void,
Yeah.
anywhere a void could be filled.
Well, how did
You know,
you meet Tiffany?
at the gym,
Oh
like
my
regular. But
gosh.
I'm a, I don't want to say that because it doesn't sound great, but I'm pretty like low key, like,
Yeah.
I was gonna say like basic-ish, Like I'm not,
In what way?
like I'm probably not gonna be like out at a club or anything like
Yeah.
that. Like I'd be more likely to meet someone at like a grocery store than I would
Yeah.
like
And
out.
what kind of partner are you meeting out at a club? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, exactly,
I love that.
Yeah. Where were you born at?
I was born in like the town over at Grandview Hospital. So I am like born and raised Pennsylvania girl.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
always in this area your whole
Yeah.
life.
And I love it. Like I love that Montgomeryville is right here and like the surrounding areas, but like growing up in Percy, Pennsylvania, I love it. Like I don't see myself going very far because I don't want to be far from my parents. I am so close with my family. Like I'm so close with my parents and my siblings. And I just can't imagine like having children, for example, and not being near them. And my grandparents too. Like my
Yeah.
grandparents are close to us, and I just I always joke too that with like things like travel, I could live without, because if you gave me like a magic carpet and I could like be there like that, sure, that would be super fun and great. But I'm such a diva with like traveling and stuff, and I just love where I'm at. I don't need to leave.
Yeah, you're comfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
I
get
like
it.
it that way.
Yeah. it's interesting, right? Because what you're describing, like, is comfortable to you, so that's where you stay, like, that's your comfort zone.
Hmm.
But there's like that piece that we realize that in order to grow, like, you kind of got to step outside of that comfort zone a little
Hmm.
bit. So, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I'm grateful that I have my comfort people around me, and I love that I'm comfortable. Like, I'm living at home right now with my fiance before we get a house, and I love it. So I'm glad that I still have things to push me out of my comfort zone. Like, yes, my spa studio is home based and inside my home with a separate entrance and everything. And I'm so lucky that I'm able to continue growing, like through things like anxiety with my new clients that come in. And I just took a new job working for the Souderton School District. Haven't started, that's soon to be. But I try to do things that will make me come out like this,
Yeah,
step
yeah,
out of my comfort zone, but still have like my comfort people around me,
yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah. When you spoke about Montgomeryville, do you consider like Percy, is that like more rural and this is this like down here like more cityish to you?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Like I was extremely upright driving here, like a
yeah,
lot more busy.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we know that too because I'm from down here, and like
Yeah.
a lot of people will refer to the area as the sticks, even though it's not, it's not that. It's, no, it's
That's
crazy, right? It's not
crazy.
that far. Someone said that to me the other day. They're like, "Oh, you want me to come to the sticks?" I was like, "You live
That's
12 minutes away from me." Yeah,
crazy.
that's what
This
they
might
think
as
of.
well be like a pop it. Like I was driving past the mall. I'm
Yeah,
like, huh?
yeah, they do refer to it, even though it's just right there. So
Oh my
imagine.
gosh, you just like there's a big field in my backyard, like lots of fields. There, this is very city-like
Yeah.
when I come over here.
I love that. That's awesome. I lived here my whole life, but yeah, I love that about that area. It just you can tell when you go up there, it just feels more open, and people
Yeah,
are friendly and nice. Is
like
like,
there's just space.
yeah.
I
You're not
love
on top
that.
of each other, and it's just,
Hmm.
I think that makes people more relaxed too. Like the more open
Hmm.
area you have where people aren't, it's like a city, like New York.
Hmm.
Everyone's batshit, because they're all on
Hmm.
top of each other, like clamoring to go where they're going, and you're
Hmm.
always in someone's way. Out there, it's not like that. Like
Yeah,
people
like
a little bit slower.
there's not that sense of like urgency and rushing, and like being an esthetician in my spa studio, like I like to take my time. And I think it helps to be in an area of the world that feels a little slower, because I think I like to move and live a little more slowly,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
And
me
I
too.
think too, like, depending on where you grow up, like me growing up with a field in my backyard, I think that's why I like it that way. And you growing up in Montgomeryville, you probably like it more this way, or do you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean this way? Like down here?
Yeah.
No. That's
Oh,
no. No,
okay.
I think, well, I don't know. I'm not speak for everyone, but I don't know, just like humans in general, does anyone ever really want to be on top of,
Yeah,
like
that's
clamoring? Like you said, you
true.
grew up with a field in your backyard. I
Yeah.
had a house in, no, someone else's house in my backyard. It's
Okay.
like that literally in down in, towards this area because it gets tighter. There's just not much
Hmm.
room. So they'll be like, I would call it row houses. They call them townhouses,
Hmm.
but they're in a row. So it's basically row
Yeah.
homes. So it's just home. You could throw a baseball to someone's house out
Yeah.
back your house. There's like people everywhere all the time. Like you're
Oh,
always, inundated by everyone's energy all the time.
yeah.
So for me personally, my personality, I love, up there because,
Yeah.
you just take on what you want to take on and
I love
don't have
that.
to. Yeah, so I
What
enjoy
is
it.
your personality like?
I don't know. I don't know. Just relax and chill. I think
I
just kind of
gather that from you.
slow. Yeah, kind of just like real slow and
You like the slow living
yeah,
too,
yeah,
then.
yeah, absolutely.
I think maybe with people who deal with anxiety, I think that's maybe better
Mm.
for is the more slow living. Um, at least for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, actually, I think you hit on it perfectly. I think that has a lot to do with it because something about just that real fast pace, like it's like
Hmm.
it can draw a lot out of me,
Yes.
like emotionally. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's definitely has a lot to do with that. So since you just transitioned into anxiety, let's talk about it because that's something that we have in common. That when I reached out to you and you mentioned, I was like, yes, we connect
Yes.
there, even though it's not like the
That
greatest
already
place.
put me at ease,
Yeah.
you touching on that, like knowing, like I never would have guessed that you're someone who struggles with that too.
Hmm.
So I would love to hear more about like what your anxiety like looks and feels like because I know it like varies from person to person.
Yeah. Did you have anxiety? I'll speak on me, but did you have
Yeah,
it ever since you were a child? Can you remember? Yeah.
absolutely. Like I, as long as I can remember, and when I was young, it definitely looked like I was the very shy little girl in class. Like I didn't have many friends growing up because I was so shy. And it looked like me befriending my bus driver because I don't know, maybe because I had safe um, adults in my life. Maybe that's why I gravitated towards teachers and my bus driver. But I was so shy. And I don't know, I think it was probably high school that I started to branch out a little bit. I was still very shy as a freshman. But then, people would started to approach me. I started to make friends. And I definitely came out of my shell throughout high school and into college because I feel like as a shy kid, I like didn't talk much.
Hmm.
And now I feel like I talk a lot. So it was definitely an evolution, but my anxiety has always like been there
Yeah.
and been like holding me back in a lot of ways.
Do you have any idea what that stems from? Have you ever been able to like unpack that? And
I do go to therapy
congratulations,
and
good for you.
it's a great
Yeah,
thing.
we all should.
I'm so glad that I have access to therapy and it's still like a work in progress as far as working through those things, but I don't know where it comes from. If I don't know if people are more genetically like predisposed to it.
Mm.
I really don't know, and it's something I'm still trying to figure out literally on a daily basis because I deal with it on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What about you? Do you know where yours comes from?
See, I was trying to connect it because I was thinking it had something to do with the upbringing, like the home, but you had like the ideal situation at home with like mom
And
and
maybe
dad.
I don't know, is that like my home life was so good that when I left my home, I was like, ah,
Mm,
I don't know.
yeah.
That's a working theory.
Yeah. I thought for me, I don't know if I really thought too deep in it. I just thought it was the absence of one of my parents that had some sort of like insecurity that was, just embedded in me based on that experience, which made it hard for me, like the way you said, communicate
Mm-hmm.
to like with people. I guess I would call myself shy. I didn't love the word shy because shy is
Mm-hmm.
like shy and timid kind of go together. It's like
Mm-hmm.
fearful, but maybe there
That
was
was
some of
me
that.
as a
Yeah, yeah.
child.
Yeah, maybe some of that, but I didn't know why. But I had sports all the time. So
Yeah.
sports was like the equalizer for me because I was good at something. I always had that where people were
Mm-hmm.
attracted to me or I could like use that to lift myself.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't have that, it probably would have been like debilitating. But
That makes a lot of sense to me because I had hobbies growing up. Like, I've always been very crafty and
mm,
like love crafting, doodling, like, I liked writing, all that sort of stuff. And I never liked sports,
mm,
like doing them. I tried a few, I dabbled,
yeah,
but they made my anxiety so much worse.
mm,
Like, I'm so glad that you had something to like channel it.
yeah, yeah, definitely that. So yeah, I think I had it. Looking back on it now, I feel like it was probably most of my life. I don't know at what point you recognize it, but at some point when I was a kid, definitely, because I would sleep. I slept through like every class I ever attended in
Mm.
school, and it's just unfortunate because there was no awareness, I guess, back then.
Hmm.
No one like they just didn't
There
know.
was such a
Yeah,
lack of
yeah, I
awareness.
think they just didn't know. It's like, why? Even I didn't know. It's like, wait, I slept all night, but I'm going to school and I'm sleeping again. It's like, it's
Hmm.
just that environment. Even sometimes now, recently, I realized every time I get into a car, I would fall asleep. It doesn't matter where
Mm.
it is, and it's because I'm anxious. Like anxiety sometimes It makes you like
Yes.
really, really like knockout tired. And I just
I
realized that.
felt that myself.
Hmm.
I find it's one way or the other for me where I get really sleepy or I'm on like high alert, like pitter patter heart,
Hmm.
and it sort of tends to sway back and forth for me.
Yeah, for me it's always tired. You know how like dogs when they do a lot of like yawning,
Hmm.
it's because they're experiencing anxiety too. So like when they say when dogs yawn, like give them space, let them.
My fiance taught me that
Yeah.
because we have two puppies right now, and he's very good at training them. Well, more one of them than the other because the one is a Chihuahua, so she
Mm.
gets away with a
Yeah.
lot more. But he's super into like learning all the stuff about dogs, and he did share that with me one time. It's
Yeah,
very
it's
cool.
interesting. So it's, relatable. We all
Hmm.
experience similar things, but yeah, I definitely had and still have it. I don't know if you ever get rid of it. Like,
I
I
don't.
think you
I
just
was
figure
just
out
thinking
how to
this the
manage
other day.
it. Yeah, manage it. Like, have you ever had a panic attack?
So that's the crazy thing is I don't think I've ever had a full-blown panic attack. It's more like this constant like of
Mm.
anxiety. Um, but sometimes it's really elevated, like especially before new clients. Like I don't know what their energy is going to be like. I'm very good at adapting to different personalities that I have in my studio. But anytime, without fail, anytime I have a new client in my studio, I am so nervous
Mm.
beforehand. Like before they come, I am like ready way early, and I am just like waiting for them to come. So nervous.
Yeah, that's
But
interesting.
then it's always afterwards that it goes well because it always goes well afterwards. I'm like, oh my God, it was so great.
Yeah,
And
after
then
you
the
get through it.
anxiety is gone.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? How that works, just that energy just trapped in your body. I
Yes.
think you just have to find ways to get it out. Like whenever that
Mm-hmm.
energy gets in you, you have to have something that you go to, whether it be like some sort of breathing exercise or
Mm-hmm.
meditation or a safe space you go to, wherever. You have to do something because there's like real energy that's
Mm-hmm. I could
inside of
do
you.
a better job of finding like a go-to coping mechanism for that because I actually did try my hand at meditating the other day, like a week ago, and it went great. And I think if I leaned more into something like that, it would help my anxiety a lot. Do you
Yeah.
have like your own little go-to or no?
Hmm. Now more so it's just because the energy for me is so strong, like I really have to like go sit somewhere and like take
Mm-hmm.
time out where I don't often have that time or I have to do a practice like the day before or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I don't really have the time, but more is just awareness. Whereas like when I'm aware of the anxiety, where I have some sort of influence over it, where it's not gonna like crush me, but
Mm-hmm.
like I can just at least exist in it. Where before it's like if the anxiety hits me and I have no awareness of it, then it's just gonna take me,
Mm-hmm.
so
I totally agree.
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a
Do you
lot.
have like situational anxiety?
I still don't know every single trigger. Like I've had panic attacks and I think it was due to like your business, the
Mm-hmm.
stress of a business. So it's not just you meeting people, it's also like the stress that goes with the whole,
Yes. Yes, I
the
agree with
whole of
that.
it, which is like just a lot to carry. So my first panic attack was during those moments where I was trying to do something and I just fell apart and didn't
Mm-hmm.
even see it coming. And if you never experienced a panic attack, it's the worst shit that can happen to you. It feels like a heart attack.
Oh.
It's like imminent doom combined with a lot of physical responses, like heart race, and then hard time breathing, and then you just think in your mind for whatever reason you think I'm dying. That's always the thought that you feel, and there's like it's hard to get out of that because it's so physical. Like your heart's
Mm-hmm.
racing, your body's twitching, you feel weak, you feel like you want to throw up, and you're like, all right, well, I guess I'm out of here today. This is
Oh
just
my
kind of it.
God.
Yeah, that's what a panic attack feels like every time.
I think like if the closest thing I've had to, and maybe this is what it manifests as for me, tears. Like
Mm.
just like so when I think that's my like default emotion. I know that anger is a lot of people's default emotion. Mine is tears. Like when I am in distress, I am crying. So I feel like there have been moments that maybe don't present as like a traditional panic attack, but maybe that's what my body does. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's unpleasant in its own way.
Yeah. That makes sense though, because either way, like whatever I'm experiencing or you're experiencing is just our body's way of pushing that
Yes.
out. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Like sometimes I feel like crying when I'm nervous or anxious.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. I used to feel
Yeah.
that way too. I'm gonna be honest. I used to be a independent contract. Basically, I would drive all around the
Mhm.
country. And sometimes before I would leave, I would literally feel like I want to cry.
Um, before,
Yeah.
and this is not about you. Before I came here, I was saying bye to my fiance, and I was like, I'm nervous. And I felt that sensation of wanting to cry,
Yeah.
like coming up. I didn't cry, but I felt like my eyes welling up a little bit. And like, this is such a great thing. It's
Yeah.
just a new thing
Yeah.
and so I don't know why that happens, but I felt like I was gonna cry before coming
Yeah,
here.
it's an interesting feeling, right?
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, men, women, we both cry, but for me at the moment when that was happening to me, it just felt like weakness. That's all I knew it was.
Mm,
That's how I used to associate crying. I don't now because, I realize it's good for you.
good.
But back then I'm like, I feel weak and I'm leaving my girlfriend at the time. So I'm like, am I crying over her? Like I just didn't
Yeah,
know what it was about. Yeah,
confusing.
yeah, very. So I was like, this was a
When
struggle.
did you make that transition? You know, you mentioned you used to see crying as a weakness.
Hmm.
Like, and I'm sensing that you went through like some sort of like self-growth
Yeah,
healing journey.
yeah, yeah.
How did that start and transpire?
Good question. It started a long time ago. I crashed a motorcycle many, many years ago, and
Wow.
I got the time to do something that I don't think a lot of people get to do, which is like sit by myself for years. 2 years, like I was down, like at my mom's house,
Wow.
just thinking about my life and who I was to that moment. So, most of us, as you grow up and everything influences you, you're on the path to becoming, this person. And typically, if nothing forces you to deviate, you're just going to go that way and stay that person. But
Mm-hmm.
something forced me to, veer off that path and start figuring out who I was.
I
And
love
that was the change. Because I don't think I was like, I won't say I wasn't a good person, but I wasn't my best self at the time.
I know what you mean by that. I feel like, so I don't drink anymore.
Good for you. Me either.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, because I'm sure for the same reason, but go on.
I don't know why it's I think I know why it's so shocking when I meet someone else who doesn't drink. Because it's so normalized,
Hmm.
drinking culture everywhere, all the time. But it'll be 7 months that I stopped drinking in September. And how long have you not been drinking?
Years.
That's
Yeah, many
amazing.
years. Like I'll, like drink one here and there, but
Yeah,
I don't like drink. I don't get drunk or nothing like that.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just felt like that alone when I was drinking was not conducive to creating the life that I wanted for myself. And it was holding me back in a lot of ways, like with my physical health, my mental health. Oh my gosh. And like as a business owner, it was holding me back in every single way possible. It was adding no value to my life.
Hmm.
And I found that once I stopped drinking, I sort of started to embark on this like self-growth journey. I've been like in and out of like self-growth for years, like, but it wasn't until I stopped drinking, full stop, like that I was like, okay, like let me focus on myself as a business owner, let me focus on myself as a family member, a fiance, all the ways. And I'm like continuing to watch my life prosper in so many ways. And a lot of that I attribute to not drinking.
Yeah, absolutely. What you stated there, I don't think that, like, I don't think it's conducive to anyone's life in a positive way.
I
I'm pretty
agree.
sure everyone realizes that, they just use it
Yeah.
as, I don't want to say what do they say as an escape. I don't believe personally. I don't believe that people like it's always about escaping necessarily when people use drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's as a means to get through, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
surviving whatever they got going on with. And that's just the easiest thing to do rather than reflect or go meditate or jump in a cold bath. It's easier just to grab a drink, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
push you through the day. And then you just end up doing it, you know, Monday. It got me through Monday, then it got me through Tuesday, then Wednesday, and then now you know you're
Mm-hmm.
drinking, you know, every day of the week rather than doing the actual work, which people may not even realize is available to them. Because I didn't know, like, I didn't know meditating was going to make you feel better or a
Mm-hmm.
cold bath was going to be better than doing drugs,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So,
That is such a beautiful way of putting it because it is so much easier to just grab a drink. And I was never the type to want to escape any feelings. Like I've always had this beautiful, wonderful life and I wasn't escaping anything. I just liked the way I felt when I was drinking.
yeah,
And yeah, I liked it a little too much. So I was like, we got to tailor this back.
yeah,
But I think that's true that a lot of people aren't necessarily escaping, but going through. Like it's almost like second nature for people to like reach for a drink.
yeah, yeah,
Don't get me wrong, I reach for a lot of mocktails these
yeah.
days
What's a
because
mocktail?
a mocktail's like,
Like a fake drink?
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
like I love my fake wines and my fake beers,
Mm.
and like I'm always experimenting with like different non-alcoholic drinks.
Oh, nice. Good for you. My brother actually just mentioned that to me the other day about drinking, yeah,
Really?
non-alcoholic drinks. And in my mind, because I'm like ex-football player, you know, how some of
Yeah.
us can be because your father and brother, right? Correct.
Hmm.
It's kind of rigid, you know, in
Hmm.
our structure, kind of like militant. So in my
Hmm.
mind, I'm just thinking like, just don't drink. Like, what are you doing? Like,
My
why are
dad's
you
like,
drinking?
I'll never touch an NA beer with a
Yeah.
10-foot pole.
Yeah, yeah, same way. It's like, you know, because you're just one
Yeah.
step
He's
away
like,
from the
what's the
thing.
point?
Yeah, basically. But some people feel, you know, the social or
Yeah.
whatever it
The
had that was,
placebo for
yeah,
me.
whatever was in it, just minus the alcohol. So
Yeah.
it's cool still. Just me personally,
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
love
nah,
my NA drinks.
yeah,
They're so fun.
yeah, good for you.
Thanks.
That's awesome. Man.
Mhm.
So you grew up in a, I was gonna make a statement about how you grew up, but I actually don't know. I know that you have several siblings, correct?
Yes.
And two of your siblings are adopted,
Hmm.
correct?
So, not officially, but we lived in the same household for many years. They call our parents mom and dad. They, both of them grew up with not very ideal
Mm,
upbringings. Neither of their dads were in the picture really.
see.
Poor influences too,
Mm-hmm.
and their moms are in the picture, but they weren't really in the position to support either of them during that time that they were living with us.
Mm,
And so I was in eighth grade when I'm now 25. When I was in eighth grade, Safi moved in, and it was the following summer that Ezra moved in. And living together for such like crucial parts of our lives, like we were all in high school like arguing over the bathroom before getting in the car and going to school together.
mm,
Like me and my three big brothers. And people are always like, why do you call them your brothers? When you, when you live with someone, you know them in a different way.
mm.
It brings you that much closer to someone. And I could never imagine not calling them my brothers. They are people who have changed my life and how I view certain things, and we just grew up together.
Yeah,
And that was a crucial part of my upbringing. And I couldn't imagine it any other way. And with my biological brother, it was sort of funny. Everyone in our family tended to call them the triplets. And so that was cute. And
yeah,
then my
that's
younger
hilarious.
sister, she's my best friend, my younger sister. And I feel kind of bad now. She was kind of out of the loop when we were all like going to high school and stuff. But
Is she that much younger?
No, she's only 3 years younger than me, but she was in middle school
Mm,
when we were all in high school. And then when we all graduated, we were like figuring out like our next steps into like baby adult life.
mm,
And but Soph is just as close with everyone, and I love my family. I love my siblings. And for me, it's different, like forming and having relationships with my brothers because me and my sister just like girl out all the time. But I know that there is this like mutual acceptance and understanding and love with all of my brothers. And it just looks different than like me and my sister. You know what I
mm.
mean? But I love my family and my
Yeah,
siblings.
yeah, I can tell. You got a glow about you when you mention them.
They're my
I
favorite people.
I love seeing that on your face because it's just not like that for everyone. Like for
Mm-hmm.
you, I don't say it's a unique experience, but special for sure because like you're getting something that it's amazing. You know, like not everyone obviously like they got that via your family, but that wasn't going to be their experience initially.
I think, I hate to say it, I feel like it is less common that people are part of a family that is so steadfast and like unwavering. Like we are always here for each other, even if, you know, whoever it is doesn't want our help. Like we're always going to be a family.
Yeah.
And that includes my adopted brothers. Like it has been communicated over and over throughout the years that our parents love them like they are their own.
Yeah.
And our parents would do anything for us.
Yeah. That's
And us siblings with each other too.
yeah, that's awesome. I get that. I feel that through your mom's energy though, as we talked about earlier.
Mama Bear.
I've never met your mom. She's like my mom too, just the way that she talks to me. I enjoy it because I know that she doesn't mean any harm, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know how some people can think of a mother like, oh, they're overbearing or this or that. Like I don't
Yeah.
think of it like that because I could just tell it's not, it's out of love, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like even, I'm sure at some point you, because you're closer to her, might have to
Yeah.
say like, hey, you know, tone it down a
Sometimes I'm
notch.
like,
Yeah.
Mom. But I hate to say it, she is right. Like 99.99999% of the time, she is right about whatever.
Yeah.
Because I think moms just know. They
They got it.
have that instinct for their children, and they typically know what's best.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's amazing to see that. I would say I didn't know that initially that your adopted brothers look like me.
Mm-hmm.
I'd been introduced to your mom through someone else. Either way, and then I found out that, you know, your brothers were black and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's it I don't say respect, but it makes you have like more of an appreciation, me personally, for that person because it's not something that I've seen much of. You know, I know it does exist. Obviously, people do
Mm-hmm.
for those, but I haven't. You know, I think your mom's the first person that I know of personally that took on people of a different race.
It definitely, like, because it's my experience that I lived, I like forget that, I don't forget that that is like a different perspective of it as well,
Mm,
like a different, um, that could be a whole different conversation,
yeah,
you know,
that dynamic.
the dynamic, the things I've learned from them. And I have a different appreciation for my mom and dad
Mm,
for, I mean, one, I think it says something that when Safi moved in with us, his football, so he also played, all three triplets played football. And Safi, before he moved in, the football coaches knew my dad and my family. And they came to my parents and said, what do you think of Safi moving in with you guys? And they didn't even hesitate. They were like, this young boy, he needs a home and a family. And that's exactly what they gave him. And then it was the following summer that Ezra, he just started being over every day, like sleeping over for like an entire summer. It was the end of the summer that we had a family meeting, and my mom and dad were like, "What do you think of moving in?" He said yes, but it is so something that I so appreciate about my parents, that they were like able and willing to do that, because we didn't really grow up like super well off or anything like that. Like grocery bills, especially for 3 football players, were outrageous.
Yeah.
The amount of food that was consumed, outrageous.
Big dudes too.
And like our house is a very normal, very lived in house with lots of animals and not many rooms to spare at all. And so we had to, do a little bit of moving things around and stuff. But the fact that they were so like, whatever, like our house is as big as it is, whatever, like they were just so willing to make it work,
Yeah.
to help 2 young boys. And that's something that I value so much about my parents, because not everyone would do it.
Yeah. Absolutely not.
So they're role models in more ways than one.
Yeah. That's a very rich experience. Yeah.
Very rich.
Yeah. Very rich
Yes.
experience.
But I'm glad that you find appreciation, like you can appreciate
Oh yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
I love that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Good for them. Good for your whole family. For you, just everything in your area is working, and you can
Yeah.
see that based upon interactions with you and your mom and your dad, even through like comments on social media. Like you can kind of get a vibe for who a person is. So it's just awesome. But
Thank you.
back to you.
Oh, goodness.
How do you go about starting this business? What was it? What was the driving force behind you branching off and deciding that you want to do this? Tell me the name of it.
Okay,
I love the name
so
of it too. It just sounds
thank
catchy. Yeah.
you. The name of my business is Appleandeveesthetics, and
You want to say where it's located?
it's located in Percy, PA.
Yeah.
I do facials, waxing, tactile ASMR sessions, which
Your
is,
eyebrows are
oh my God,
perfect right
thank
now.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
Made
you
me
so
want to get mine done.
much. Oh, let me do your eyebrows,
Yeah, I might.
please.
Yeah, I think I might. I might.
Yay,
I saw
sure.
you do your brother's eyebrows, and as a man, we don't think, I don't know if you
Yeah.
know, but like we don't think much about that. And then I saw, I was like, wow,
It
that's
makes
amazing.
such a
Yeah, it
difference.
totally changed his
They're
face.
like
Like,
the
did you put
curtains of
makeup
the
on him or
face.
anything, or you just really?
No.
That's so interesting. It
Oh
looked
my
like
God,
you did
like
his whole face up.
they are the curtains of the face,
Yeah.
for sure. And so I love doing brows. I always knew I wanted my own business, but I didn't know it was going to happen as quickly as it did. So I graduated esthetician school in October of 2021. And I always wanted to be in like the medical side of aesthetics, working for like a dermatologist or at a med spa. I applied to so many places and interviewed at a few different places. I shadowed at one place, and they all said the same thing, that I didn't have enough experience for them to bring me on. Which, like, okay, fine.
So annoying.
So annoying. Like, how did
Yeah.
you guys get
Yeah,
experience
it's like, where does it
then?
begin?
How
Yeah.
how do I get my foot in any door
Yeah.
when this is the same response from everyone?
Yeah, everywhere. It's so annoying.
It was really frustrating. So I took the first job that was finally offered to me, and it was at a hair salon. And I am under the belief that estheticians go to die at hair salons. I just don't think, you would think that they go together because of the beauty stuff. But when people are going to get their hair done, like they're going to get their hair done. I don't really think that an esthetician, again, this is just my opinion, I don't think that an esthetician in a hair salon atmosphere is really going to thrive.
No, I think that makes sense though, because the service is probably like devalued a bit based on they're coming for the hair, and then you're kind of like
Yes.
in the foreground or background. I get it.
Yes, exactly. Great way to put it. And so I accepted this job. The woman who owned it was a bit abrasive, and I was just kind of sticking it out. And I saw some unsanitary practices being done. Like she asked me to reuse gloves on clients,
Mm.
which I would not do.
Whoa.
And I saw her double dipping in the wax pot. And if you're an esthetician, you know that it's dip, apply, toss. Like you do not
Yeah.
contaminate that
Especially
wax
with
pot.
skin and stuff like that. Like people don't realize something goes wrong with your skin that can get bad.
Yes,
Yeah.
really bad, really quickly.
Let's shout this place out. What's her name and where is the place located?
Oh, God.
I'm totally kidding.
Saying that name out loud would send shivers down my
No, I'm
spine,
totally
even just
kidding.
the thought of it.
Yeah.
So I was just, and my mom works in, well, at the time she was working in healthcare, and she was just completely appalled. And she was like, "We have to get you out of here. You have to quit. Momager coming to the rescue."
That's her
because I
energy
do
too.
seek the validation from my family. Like I need to know, I sometimes like double check, and I'm trying to grow in that way, like to just know with confidence and be able to like make choices with my own confidence. But it's another work in progress. But I'm always like, is this as crazy as I'm thinking it is? And they were like, yes, like this, you gotta go. Confirmation. So I quit. I didn't put in my 2 weeks.
Got the hell up out of there.
I got out of there. I was like, I can't. So it was after that we started to brainstorm like my parents, my fiance, they were like, you can do this better than anyone. Like you should go off on your own, which I like, again, always wanted to do, but my parents especially were very much like, you should see how someone else runs their business first. Oh, that I did. I saw how this woman ran her business and I did not like it. So it was just off to the races. It was like, we have this breezeway room at my childhood home, my parents' house, and it always had its own separate entrance. And I always call it the cat with 9 lives, because at one point it was a dining room, it was a few different bedrooms, it was a wrestling room before it was my spa studio.
Perfect shape.
Yeah. We had wrestling mats in there so that, you know, my sister and George and my mom, they could all do jujitsu.
That's awesome.
So it really is like the cat with 9 lives. And then it became my studio. We renovated it. My dad had a bathroom put in. My dad is very, very much like a handyman, so he was able to do a lot for me. My mom helped me with a lot of aesthetically, like what it looks like, and painting. And my parents also helped me a lot with getting started as far as equipment and things like that, because I was fresh out of skin school after being fresh out of college. So I was so broke.
Yeah, fresh out of money.
Fresh out of money.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So they helped me immensely. And then George was able to help me in so many ways with the business side of things, getting a website up and running, and all these different things that
Shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Hockman.
Yes.
Shout out Mom and Dad. Oh, shit. Nice.
And shout out to George too, because he still helps me with all the business stuff, because sometimes I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
So needless to say, it takes a freaking village to start your own business, period. But especially if you're wanting to open your own spa studio or spa like me, it takes a village for sure. And I'm so grateful.
Yeah, it's nice to have that guidance with the help of the business, because if you don't know, you're going to make mistakes that could be costly. And off camera, I'm going to tell you how to avoid some of those mistakes.
Okay.
Sure, you know?
Okay.
How do we circumvent some of this
Right.
stuff? Because I made plenty of mistakes for sure, because I didn't know. I just
Makes me feel better.
started. Yeah. Well, that's like, how do you learn, you know?
How do you learn? And that's why I find something that I'm saying so often at this point in my life is like, give people grace, because this is still everyone's first time doing life.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
people could afford to give others more grace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect. I'm clipping that up and sending that out there. You just said that perfectly. You actually just hit me there, because I'm like, yeah, you're right. this is everyone's first time doing this. So,
Mm-hmm.
we're all just stumbling through. Some of us are trying our absolute best, and some
Mm-hmm.
of us are doing the most that they can with what they got.
And even the people that aren't like trying their best, I feel like, again, case by case, like so many people's circumstances are different. They don't grow up with the tools and the strategies to cope with certain things that come at us in life. And I think people are very much, some people are at more of a disadvantage than others. Like I already see myself at an advantage because of the family I grew up with.
Hmm.
Um, all those things. Like I already feel like I'm being a white woman, like I'm at an advantage compared to other people. And some people start at like a different place in life,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. You have this awareness. You're grooving right now. You're flowing. You're loose. You're letting it go.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
You answered the rebuttal was perfect.
Thank you.
Good for you. So yeah, I mean, congratulations on doing that. And congratulations on everything because I don't know if you're aware, but I feel like you're pretty young to have this level of self-awareness, and
Oh my
I'm
God,
assuming
thank
that's,
you.
yeah,
Oh
absolutely. At your age, I was stupid.
my
I
gosh,
was
sometimes
absolutely
I feel
stupid.
so
Yeah, yeah.
stupid.
I mean, you probably are a little bit. And me.
So true.
But me too. Me too. I'm still a little stupid at my age. We're just learning. So,
How old are you?
41, I think. Sometimes I can't even
Oh
remember.
my
Once you
God.
get up there, I just
I
forget
never
how
say slay, but my sister says slay all the time.
nice.
You slay 41.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Once I get my eyebrows done, I'm gonna take it
Oh
to
my God,
another
next
level. I'm
level.
definitely coming for that. I think it'll be good for
Yay!
me.
I think you'll love it.
Yeah, and then you could clip it up and send it out there. You made an awesome clip the other day. I commented on it, how you promoted a friend of yours
Oh
business
yeah.
workout. Oh, that's who you wanted to tell me about.
Oh yes.
Yeah, perfect transition.
So,
Look at that.
oh my gosh, beautiful. My trainer Angela, she is amazing. I started lifting weights consistently almost a year ago. I started in like September sometime last year. And oh my gosh, like to see like actual physical progression in like my strength is amazing, but also like internally what it's done for me. I don't, Angela just has this like effect on people. She brings out the best in people, and she reminds you that something she says all the time, and I put it in the video, is you can do hard things. And it's true. Like if I didn't have her pushing me and saying like you can do this when I feel like I'm going to crumble, it's so needed. Like I like needed Angela this last year to grow, physically, muscularly, but also just mentally and emotionally. And my confidence has skyrocketed since being with her. And I think that just says something about how certain people just have that effect on you. Like, I think there really are people here who like bring out the best in others and in you. And that's what she's done for me. And lifting, like, especially I feel like for women, is like so great for your confidence. And I highly recommend going to Angela Recco in Percy, built by Angela.
Nice. She on the socials?
Now. So I'm trying to get her following up,
Yeah.
or her followers up,
Mm.
because she's trying to grow her clientele and things like that. So I'm trying to help her do that.
Nice. Good for you. That's
Yeah.
awesome. You made a cool little video.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, I like
That's come a long way since opening Apple and Eve is my video creation.
hmm
Like in the beginning, I was just like times 10 speed, like speeding up my facials, like the video. And now I have like visions for my videos, and I want it to feel like a little mini experience every time someone watches one of my videos. So that's come a long way too.
You know what I like about what you do for you? I don't know if you feel this way about it, but it's to me now you're kind of sounding like an artist, you know, and through your work you get to express yourself. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you were aware of that going into it. I didn't think of it when I think of esthetician, but it makes sense because life in general is art. Like we're all artists. We're the artists of our
Mhm.
own life. So you get to express yourself through that and the creation of your videos. Is that an outlet for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that you just said that because I do feel like my own little artist.
Yeah.
Even when I like get up in the morning doing my hair and makeup and picking out an outfit, like that's me just being my own little artist in life.
Yeah.
And the way
Self-expression.
yes, like I'm huge on self-expression. I think that's probably my biggest outlet for everything in my life is being able to, I think that's why I'm so fluid with like, I'm okay with talking about pretty much everything. I'm very open. And one of my biggest things that I say through my business is that vulnerability is what builds connection. And I truly believe that the more open you are, that's vulnerability. Being open is vulnerable. And it's not easy for everyone, but for some reason it's pretty easy for me.
Yeah.
And it's something that maybe didn't always come naturally to me, but growing into my adult years is very natural for me. And I think it's because I recognized at a younger age that it is what builds connection. And so part of my self expression is, I think, sometimes vulnerable in like posting videos online. But that's all in the pursuit of connection with others.
Yeah. Videos are awesome, and they get better. I can tell, you know, because
Thank
I don't know.
you.
I guess I'm a content creator. I
You
guess I don't really love it, but
are.
I appreciate the work basically. I can tell like I personally I like to see the evolution of it. Like I like to see the beginning where you're like, the video is cool, and then as they get like cooler, just for a simple term, you're
Yeah.
like, oh shit, that's
Thank
really cool. Yeah.
you. Thank you
So
so much.
yeah, you're crushing it. And
Thanks.
expressing yourself amazingly today. You're absolutely
I'm
crushing
sure.
this shit.
Thank you. I'm sure there's going to be a few things that I'm like, I sounded dweeby there, but my fiance calls me dweeby Evie
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
in an endearing
Yeah.
way because I am just a little dweeb at times, but you're making it very easy to do something outside my comfort zone. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Definitely coming. Definitely getting. What do you do? Do many men come? Let's talk about that.
It's not, I have far more women in my studio than I do men. Um, I do feel like men sometimes think it's like off limits to them. Like it's like these are things for women. But that's not true. Like I've actually had some men come in for tactile ASMR sessions because they don't like a traditional massage. So it's 45 minutes of just light touch. And I've had men come in for brow waxes, facials, but again, not many compared to the amount of women I have
Mm.
in. And I wish that men would allow themselves to indulge in something like that. So, like, have you ever gotten a facial?
Never.
Oh my
No, never.
gosh.
And I ask my wife sometimes about them because she'll go, and I'm
Yeah.
curious about it, but I've just
Oh,
never
you have to send your wife to
I
me.
never done it. Yeah, I will for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm coming first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I need
And
to
then
come
you can
first.
be like, you gotta go.
Yeah, for sure. I'll put up a testimonial for the
Yeah.
men. Yeah, we all need to just what would you say? Open, just to put it simply, just open up a little bit more to
Mhm.
different experiences that could be beneficial to us
I
and
completely
helpful.
agree.
Yeah, in your videos, I can tell, I feel like I notice that you're putting a lot of yourself into it, you know, when you're
Thank
watching someone
you.
do something. I guess it's a massage. It appears that way.
So, a lot of I really put an emphasis on like the relaxation of it. So I do put up quite a few videos of like the massage portion because that's where everyone really lets loose.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm huge on the relaxation portion of my services. Like I try to, especially facials, like I'm big on the massage portion, the scalp massage. I'll throw some light touch in there because I think most people live pretty quickly. And I think that when people come in to see me, again, especially for a facial, it's like that hour is their time to slow down.
Mm.
And yes, I want all of my facials and my treatments to be results driven, but I also, like, I will never skimp on the relaxation portion of it because it's so essential.
Yeah, I can tell that you're invested for sure when I see your videos that there's, you know, when you see sometimes people, it looks like they're just working a job, you know, like we're all
Mm-hmm.
just working a job, but when you do it, I can tell that there's like some passion and purpose behind, you know, the experience. Like you're
Yeah.
definitely leaning into it. You don't appear to be holding back, as far as I
No,
can
I
tell.
don't really hold much back.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You're giving the full experience.
I try.
What time did you come here? 12? Yeah, you came in at 12, right? I
Yeah.
just wanted to check the time, make
Yeah.
sure we're about an hour in.
Cool. Oh my God, already?
Yeah, crushing it. Can we backtrack a little bit? Do you mind?
Yeah. No,
Because I
not at
remember what
all.
I wanted to ask you initially. I saw something on your page about it was glow up and glow down, or my
Yes.
and that phase of your life. Can you explain that to me a little bit? What you were going through? Because I saw you had like a different look. There
Oh
was, you
yeah.
know, a lot was going on. What
That's a
was?
nice way of
You
putting
mind
it.
sharing what was going on?
So growing up, I was always like blonde, and like in my high school and college years, I had long, wavy platinum hair. And then I started having some hormonal issues when I hit my 20s. And I don't know if COVID had anything to do with it, but my hair started falling out. And I originally thought that it was from bleaching my roots. After some blood work, turns out that wasn't the case. It was at the time, this isn't an issue anymore, but at the time I had high testosterone, and that's what was causing my hair to fall out.
Mm.
So after that, I dyed my hair. Well, I dyed it before I knew what was going on internally. I hated it. I didn't feel like myself. And I tried to go back blonde, which is impossible, but we all think hairstylists are superheroes, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
people too, and there are things you can't do with hair.
yeah. My mom's a hairstylist. I know you're brutalizing that hair, like torturing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I couldn't stand to touch it. Like I couldn't, after putting it through everything I put it through, I couldn't stand to touch it. And I had said several times to my mom, but my whole family, George, I want to shave my head. And nobody took me seriously. And I did. So I ended up shaving my head, and my mom came with me to Supercuts because she was really like the only one on board.
Mm.
Because everyone was worried about the afterwards, what would happen, like growing out a buzz cut.
Mm.
There were many tears, all the tears that my dad and my sister predicted.
Mm.
But I'm sure if you asked them, they would also agree that it's something I just had to do. So it felt like I was starting over by shaving it. And I was used to, I mean, there's no way to say this with it sounding not conceited. But when I was like, I had this long blonde hair, like I was a pretty girl. And then stripping all of that away, shaving my head, and then when I started growing it out, like I didn't look like her anymore. And that was really hard for me. Like being used to appearing a certain way. And then I was struggling with acne while I was growing out my hair, also due to the high testosterone at the
Mm.
time. I felt so ugly, and I was not taking care of myself. Like it was really hard for me to take care of myself at that time. Um,
Were you in a relationship then too?
yeah. So
Okay.
I surprised George with my buzz cut.
Yeah,
And I
I saw
loved
that.
my buzz cut at first.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was so cute, it was so spunky. It was really like the growing out and everything that I was like, what's going on? Um, but he was all about it. Like he came home, he was getting a tattoo that day. He came home and I surprised him with no hair on my head. Well, like very little.
Quite the surprise.
Yes, but he loved it. And everyone always
Did he?
asks like, what did George think of you doing that? Almost anticipating like a negative response, but it was far from that. He was so supportive. He always, even when I felt my ugliest and my hair was like an inch long, and it was a fuzzy Q-tip, and I felt so ugly. I had pimples all over my face. I didn't feel like me. I wasn't working out. I wasn't doing any. I was still drinking. Like, ugh, really didn't like that phase of my life. Even through all of that, he was like, "You're so beautiful." And he tells me now that he never didn't think that. He never thought I wasn't beautiful, like the whole time I was going through this like evolution of myself.
I would hope not. It's just hair.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
hair. But like I was just like, I feel like your internal can like reflect through your outward appearance. And internally, I was depressed, I was anxious, I was starting my business. So a lot of this happened like in the same time.
Mm.
So I was like growing out my buzz cut when I decided to start my business. And so in a way, they feel like intertwined and connected with each other. Um, but yeah, like of course George thought I was beautiful the whole time, even if I didn't think that, because I just felt internally like not beautiful, and then outwardly I didn't feel beautiful. And but long story short, I think that shaving my head was like a really huge turning point for me to sort of restart my life in a way, like let go of my past self who I don't really resonate with anymore. Um, and I'm very different now versus like my high school and college years. And it's just cool to know that I and other people are so like multifaceted, and we're not going to be like the same person our entire lives.
Yeah.
But that was definitely a turning point for me.
Yeah.
My glow down to glow up, because now I feel great.
Yeah. Yeah. I could tell. Yeah, you were killing it. I saw the pictures and definitely, what would you call it? Objectively speaking, I think most people recognize that you're a good-looking woman.
Oh, thank you.
I'm pretty sure most people know that. It doesn't matter whether you got hair or not. You can be bald-headed, most people are gonna acknowledge
Oh.
that. So I think you're good. I can understand why George was supportive.
Yeah, he's a sweet guy.
Yeah, what the picture that you just painted is interesting though, because it's like freedom. You found liberation in cutting
Mm-hmm.
your hair, and all of that, like to get free is a struggle, for all
Mm-hmm.
of us. And it seems like for me, and sounds like you too, we all find it through struggle. Like it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem like you truly find yourself without struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to embrace that. And you did, whether you knowingly or not, you did it.
It was definitely like self-inflicted shaving my
Yeah.
head. But I'm also very lucky in the sense that I didn't face much struggle growing up. Like I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really anything transformative, thankfully, that happened against my own will.
Hmm.
And so I almost think it was essential for me to shave the head,
Mm.
go through my own internal like growth
Yeah.
and like transformation, because I never really had anything before that forced me to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense because you hadn't had much resistance, so you
Yeah.
had to, some resistance was created through your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good picture. Every time you say something, I'm thinking of something that I want to say, and then I just totally lose it. I don't know why this keeps happening.
It's okay. I do it all the
Yeah,
time.
it doesn't happen to me usually that much, but sometimes you say something that, like a thought that I'm excited to say, and then it'll go down the road a little bit, and then
Oh, I hate
just
that.
totally lose it. But yeah,
It's because I'm extremely long-winded.
no, it's all right. You're painting a great picture.
Okay, good.
Something about freedom through expression, him. But I don't want to make this about him, but I am going to say something about him. Shout out to
Yeah.
that guy for being supportive to you
Oh,
through that.
yeah.
You know,
I'm very
yeah,
lucky.
that's awesome because, you were in a moment where you needed that from the person. And even though, I don't know, let's not put it on scale, but that event for you, he was there. So at least now going forward, if I go through something, the guy's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to bail.
Yeah, like the amount of people I've had ask me, like, again about George, like, what was his reaction? And I'm like, it was extremely positive.
Yeah.
because this man loves me.
Yeah.
He loves me with long blonde hair, without any hair, with my short little cute little red bob. Like, I think he appreciates that I am the way I am.
Yeah, he loves you for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What What do you think about people that ask? I don't want to put you in a trap here,
No,
but
it's
that's a
okay.
curious question to ask. It just seems like a goofy thing to even ask someone, like his concern for your hair. Like, who
It is
cares
a
about?
very popular
Yeah, it sounds
question.
like it, right? But it sounds like it has more to do with the person that's asking the question.
Yeah,
You know,
and
like what are they even asking that for?
like, what do you think I'm
Like,
gonna
yeah,
say? And like, would that be the case? Like, I don't know, would you potentially fear a negative response if
yeah,
you did
yeah,
that for
yeah, that
your
part. Yeah,
partner?
yeah, that part. It seems like they're like testing the waters to see what
Yeah,
it
which
was like. Yeah,
I had gotten it so many times, and I'm like, what are these people asking me this for? Of course he loved it. I'm versatile.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's hair, you know.
It's
And I don't mean to
hair.
diminish it by saying it's just hair, but you know what I
No.
mean? Like it's
But
just
in the
hair.
grand scheme of life, that is nothing. And I am so, again, lucky that I haven't had to, I've lost grandparents and things like that. But in the grand scheme of life, knock on wood, I have been very lucky.
Yeah. I like that you have that awareness about your life's experience. And even though you haven't been through like a whole lot, you haven't faced a whole lot of resistance outside of loss, I feel like personally, just being a person is hard enough, you know, like without ever having experienced anything externally like hard,
Yeah.
just existing, you
Existing is
know, is yeah,
hard.
just that alone. Like, granted, we're not in like, mines, digging
Yeah.
something or, like
But
doing
it's
anything
hard
extra.
to
Yeah, it's just
like
hard.
move through the
Yeah,
world
yeah.
and like,
It's a lot. It's not easy.
no. And so my heart goes out to anyone who does have like a harder life than it already, any harder than it has to be. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like my heart really goes out to people like that.
Yeah, and at the same time, recognizing that we need challenges to evolve. So it's all confusing, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
the only way that you become the best version of yourself is through these trials and tribulations.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are just extreme. Like a lot of people that have been through
Yes.
the most extreme situations end up being great people,
Mm-hmm.
or it can destroy them too. So there's that part.
Right. And I think maybe that's why I have such an appreciation for my life and not having gone through any intense struggles or anything like that, anything crazy, like I think I have this awareness of the fact that I should appreciate
Hmm.
that I have this great life and this great family. And because not everybody gets that.
Yeah,
And not everybody has the easiest time in life. And so, because I have that, because I have a great life, I feel like I have to be that much more appreciative of it
yeah.
because not everyone gets that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What is it like being the pretty girl? Like growing up that way? What is that like? I've literally never asked them, but I'm curious because, it's something, like I've
Yeah.
had experience of my own with, not that,
Hmm.
not that, but like,
A very interesting question. So, I think that had a lot to do with me shaving my head too. Like, I did, I was again very shy, wasn't into like beauty or anything when I was like really, really little. But as I got older, I started like doing things with my hair and like middle school. I started playing around with makeup. And I always just like loved that stuff. And sort of growing into myself into like a young woman, I did start to get a lot more attention. And I honestly think that is why I started making friends. Because at the end of the day, like people like attractive people.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
like your eyes gravitate
Hmm.
towards attractive people. And it's so crazy. Like, I was always so insecure. I'm still working on my confidence even today. Like, but see, I just did it. I just had a brain fart.
But I'm glad because I had two. I had two already.
See, like the long pause.
Yeah, it was something about being a pretty girl and
Well, yeah.
confidence and still
So
working on confidence.
I was always like so insecure. I had all these insecurities. I always thought I was like bigger than I was, and like a lot of body dysmorphia that like wasn't real. Um, but I definitely noticed the stark contrast from being so well received by people, being young, blonde, attractive, and then shaving my head. And anytime I went somewhere like without makeup, especially when I was dealing with my acne, like I was not received nearly the
Mm,
same by the world.
yeah,
Like I feel like I didn't, this is so dumb, but I feel like I didn't receive, like outside of my family, I didn't receive like a compliment from anyone for like an entire year or like even longer because I just wasn't hot
yeah.
anymore. And I remember going to Wawa one day and I was getting in my car and an older man, but it was still flattering, like he asked to take me to dinner. And I was like, wow, like I shouldn't care about stuff like that. Like I love my fiance, I only care about my fiance. But like when you're, even from women, when I wasn't getting like compliments from women, like I just felt invisible.
Yeah.
I felt invisible and ugly. And so then when this like guy asked me on a date, I was like, "Oh my God,
I still got it.
I still got
Yeah.
it." And it sounds so vain and like I don't mean for it to, but I there was a stark contrast
Yeah.
for
I
sure.
don't think so because it's just your life's experience, and it's hard to really know what that's about because, right, like you're just born with this thing. It will be like being born on the other end of the spectrum. You've never
Hmm.
experienced that, but you're just born with it. You didn't ask for it, you didn't work for it, you just came out that
Hmm.
way. Here I am. I am attractive to people, and what do
Hmm.
I do with it now? It's like for whatever reason, sometimes you get a little bit of, well, not for whatever reason, you get validation for it through people,
Yeah.
and then you can't. How can you not absorb that? It's like impossible.
It
How do
definitely
you
made
not?
me realize like how much I leaned on that
Yeah,
validation,
yeah,
how much I craved that validation from
yeah.
other people. Once I didn't have it
Hmm.
anymore, I was like, whoa, I'm ugly now.
Yeah.
I just had to sit in that. Like that's
That's
just what it
harsh. I
was.
doubt you.
No,
I
my
doubt
mom and
that.
sister, oh my God, there are pictures I could show you. Like, my mom and sister, after the fact, like now can say to me, like, oh, all you did was wear sweatpants and you had these big dark bags under your eyes and you weren't looking good.
Yeah, yeah,
Because they knew I wasn't doing well.
yeah. You weren't your best.
Like it was they were feeding off of each other. Like the way I looked on the outside was affecting how I felt on the inside, and then how I felt on the inside was affecting not caring what I looked like on the outside,
Yeah.
but still caring. It was very, I don't always recommend people shave their head.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures. I'm sure you have, like the pictures that aren't so great, maybe not even be posted, but I saw
Oh, there
some.
are
It
some
just
really bad ones
to
that
me,
never
it
made
just
it.
looks like you at a different state. Sometimes like when people gain weight and then they lose
Hmm.
weight, like when they gain weight, they feel terrible. I'm like, you're the same person, you're just bigger, like
Yeah.
you can lose
Well,
the weight
that was
and
the other thing. Like I was the
like
heaviest I ever
yeah,
was. And I tend to carry a lot of weight in my face, which like I'm coming to terms with. Like that's fine. But when you gain weight, like for me, it really shows up in my face. And so I didn't have any hair to like hide
I got
that.
you.
And that was hard too. So like I was like the heaviest I ever was, and I wasn't working out ever.
Yeah,
I was just unhealthy. And then it was hard to be healthy because I didn't want to do anything because I felt ugly.
yeah. I like seeing you revisit this moment is interesting. It's
It's
like watching you
interesting
see
to
it.
think about because it's been more than 2 years since I did it. And sometimes I forget about it now that I have hair.
Yeah, good for you. You probably felt ugly, but I doubt you're ugly. You definitely weren't ugly. You felt ugly. I felt that. I was wondering too because when I crashed my motorcycle, I went from like actually even now I'm like I don't know 180 pounds, but usually
Yeah.
I'm like not usually. I was when I crashed, I was like 210, so a much larger person, and then I went down to 165. And when I was
Wow.
165, I felt like nobody was checking for me. You know, like I wasn't on anyone's
Wow.
radar, and I felt that. That was like a high from being this big, strong,
Wow.
tough guy. You know, blah blah blah, ex-athlete to zero. You know, I
Oh
was
my
like
God.
nothing. So
That
I
is
felt I experienced that.
significant.
Yeah, I lost like a whole human being. Yeah, but for the good because I was making bad decisions to be that size, but that was a lot of my
Wow.
identity.
Well,
Yeah,
go more into that.
yeah. What'd you say?
Go more into that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely leaning. Oh, you meant go
Yeah,
more
I
into
want to
the
hear more.
about making a wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to elaborate on
It's
that, but
okay. You don't
basically,
have
no.
to.
Basically, I was doing whatever I could to be big person. I don't really know why. I think a lot of it was anxiety. Like when I was young, I started working out, but I didn't know that you get a response from women for being a larger, you know, like muscular person. And then eventually you do start getting that. So you lean into that, you know, you chase it. And then it's just like, it's kind of like money or anything that you get
Hmm.
validation from that doesn't actually have any real meaning. There's no
So
end,
true.
you know, you're going to chase it forever. It's just forever. Like how you need to feel whole comes from the work that you do within. It has nothing to do with the outside world. Don't matter how
Nothing.
much money you got, people, and your hair, nothing. It's all within. And then I realized that through that process from
Wow.
this high of, I guess, an ego kind of driven person
Yeah.
to zero ego. Like I would say I experienced the
Yes.
ego death without, you know, drugs or anything like that.
That
Like
is
the
a
death of the
great
ego
way
for
to put
sure.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Oh my God,
annihilated.
ego.
Just dead.
Yeah, my ego, literally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Suffered a, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't, the only thing, like, it was my ego.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's,
got killed. And
you,
then you rebuild yourself, you
yeah.
know, to what you are now without the need for that. Like you're,
Yes.
and better, you have awareness of that thing's power over you, you know?
Yes. Oh my gosh, the awareness that I have of my own ego. Thank God I have awareness.
Yeah, yeah, sound like you got a lot of it. Yeah,
I try because I swear, like, having that awareness can make our lives easier.
yeah,
And I think it just makes you a better person too, to be like as self-aware as you can be about anything in life, I think makes for a better person.
yeah. I think that you can achieve being the best version of you by being aware because if not, you'd still be drinking, or if
Mm-hmm.
your life was wrapped up in how you looked, you'd be out there getting lip filler and, you know, body
Mm-hmm.
parts and all like all the stuff that people are chasing that's like, I don't know if you should be doing that. Like you can die doing that, so you might not want to
Right.
do that. But
And
you
even
know,
being an esthetician, you know, people could argue that things, having one of my services done, like brows or like a facial or wanting your skin to look better or whatever it is, people could argue that that's vain, but I see it in a much different way. Like, I help people feel better about themselves.
hmm
I help people unwind with that relaxation aspect.
yeah,
And I feel like I just have cultivated a very safe space where people feel like they can open up to me and share things with me and kind of escape whatever they're going on in their life or whatever they're going through in their life. They can escape for a little bit of time with me in like a healthy
yeah,
way.
exactly. No one's risking their life when they come see you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I feel like it's beyond just the beauty cosmetic aspect of my job. I feel like it goes a lot deeper and I'm able to help people. I don't want to say like I hope I'm helping people in like a spiritual sense, like just feel safe and like they can be vulnerable and yeah, stuff like that.
I think you are based on what I see, the vibe that I get from it, the expression on people's faces as they lay there enjoying it. It's certainly different than the look that you know a person has when they're laying on the operating table.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so definitely different. Last question for you.
Yeah.
TikTok.
Oh,
How you doing on TikTok? I heard you're doing pretty well.
whoa.
Somebody told me you're doing kind of well.
So I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing compared to like much larger creators, but compared to like my own Instagram following, it is, I think I'm at about like 20,000 followers on TikTok, which is so cool because I've had so many people come into my spa studio from TikTok.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
it's the
awesome.
coolest
So it's
thing
working.
ever. It's working.
Yeah, it's
And I
absolutely
had,
working.
speaking of tactile ASMR, I had my original video advertising it do really well. And it's from that video that people are like, wait, like, I love that kind of touch. I don't really like traditional massage. It's from that video that I've had so many people come in from TikTok and then they branch out into other services and we do things like facials and lashes or whatever. But because of that video, I have reached so many new clients. I've had people come from states away to come see me, and
It's awesome.
it never stops being cool.
Yeah.
I just have fun with TikTok. I post more, I don't even know the word, but I'm more open on TikTok. I don't post everything I post on TikTok to Instagram. And maybe because I feel like TikTok is like maybe a younger audience. But I just post more to TikTok, like more of my own personal life as well as my business, whereas like my Instagram is more of my business.
All business.
Um, but yeah, it's like the coolest thing ever. And like I have some followers who comment on like most of my things and like I don't even like know them in the real world, but they're so supportive of my videos and they enjoy my videos. And so I love making videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
See?
outfit checks and stuff.
Yeah. I haven't. I don't know if I saw your TikTok because I did have it at one point, but I deleted, so I haven't seen it recently. But I heard
Yeah,
that
that's
you're.
like VIP access is my TikTok.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll hop on there with yogurt on my face.
Oh,
I love
okay. You're
putting
giving a
yogurt on my
more
face.
in-depth look at
Yeah.
who Eve,
Yeah,
the woman,
like
is.
yeah, a lot of my personality is on there.
I like that though, that there's a different that there's a different experience that you can get with you on that platform.
Hmm.
It's kind of cool. Just a different door. Check me
Yeah,
out over
yeah, it's
here.
like a
A
different
different,
door.
yeah,
Exactly.
definitely.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, Miss Hockman, Eve, I appreciate you so much for coming. Let's
Oh,
close it out
thank you
with
so
some of
much.
get all your socials, all your info, how people reach you.
Oh,
What do
you
you got?
can follow me at Appleandeveesthetics on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and I'm located in Percy, Pennsylvania, where you can come see me at my spa studio.
I'm going.
Yes, yes, you have to come and let me do your
Yeah,
brows.
I'm gonna do it.
But
First time.
thank you for having me on. I was very nervous and I feel not nervous
No, you
anymore
crushed
by
it.
the end of it.
It was absolutely awesome. You came in with great energy anyway. I didn't even
Oh,
sense the
thank
nerves. Gave me a hug
you.
out front. You made it all easy, and we had some laughs. Like it was
Yeah,
fun.
we
Yeah,
had some good
yeah,
laughs.
that was awesome. It was like feel like we're like friends. Felt
I
like
feel
we're like
like you're
friends.
my friend.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks for joining
you.
us. Till next time.
Bye.
Like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Thank you, people. We'd like to thank you for tuning in to The Awakened Avoidant. We hope our convo has provided you with insight, inspiration, and healing energy. As you go about your week, let's continue to work together to heal ourselves and our community. Stay safe and continue to spread healing vibes wherever you go. Catch a new episode Wednesday weekly on all platforms.